Would you like to know more? Welcome to Warmaster Podcast, episode 43 of Adventures in 3D Printing. Today we're going to be looking at FDM printing, which is something we haven't talked very much about. A little bit about why the Ender 3 is a much better printer than that Anycubic Mega Zero, Mega Zero 2, I think it is, the one I bought originally. And what the biggest issue I found so far with this type of printing is, and how to solve it. So, first up, the Anycubic Mega 3, Mega Zero 2, whatever it is, it felt more like a toy than an actual machine. Putting it together was a bit of a pain in the arse. But it came modular, so it shouldn't have been, but it was. Whereas the Ender 3 V2 that I built, you do have to spend about an hour building it, and the extruder was actually the subsection, whatever you want to call it, was actually built wrong, so I had to strip that completely down and rebuild it myself and then put it together. But once it's running, the kind of difference between an Ender 3 V2 and that Anycubic, whatever it was called, Mega Zero 2, it's like chalk and cheese. It's ridiculous. One feels like a professional piece of kit that you can actually do work on, you know, like as a business, and the other one felt like a toy. It was like crippleware almost. So I'm sure if you're clever enough and experienced enough, you can get around those things, and you can. I mean, the kind of the mat that they give you to print on looks like the bee's knees in being its magnetic flex mat, but in reality, they only last a few weeks and then they get knackered. And then what do? Buy another one? Whereas the Anycubic, whereas the Ender 3 comes with a glass plate, which is absolutely, completely and utterly brilliant, apart from the adhesion issue, which I'm going to talk about. So what happens there is once you let your stuff cool down, it just literally pops off. So it's stuck onto the plate, the glass plate, and when the glass plate cools down from 60 degrees to room temperature, it literally just pops off, and you can just put it, just is there loose on the top. It's completely amazing. And cleaning it up is easy. You just use some warm water, and if there's anything on it, which we'll talk about in a minute, what's going to get on it. It's incredible how much difference the print bed makes. Having this proper print bed, and you have access to all the kind of controlling variables that you'd want access to, that you have access to nothing in the Anycubic one. So first thing I'd say is it costs about 50% more, but there's no contest. Just spend the 200 quid rather than the 120 quid and just do it. If you're going to buy a FDM printer and you're only going to buy one, then get an Ender 3 V2, I would suggest. Right, anyway, the main topic today. How do we stop? These are just from Thingiverse. These are Korg Monotron, which is a little kind of toy synth Monotron stands. I printed a pair of them for my cousin who's got a Monotron along with some Korg Volcas and stuff. So how do you get these and not stuff like this, which is spaghetti? And why this happens is as the head's going round printing, if this becomes loose on the print bed, then suddenly instead of the head printing where it's supposed to, it's just printing like spaghetti. So that's what attempt 1, attempt 2. And then we also get these ones you kind of have bought early on because you can see they're going wrong. So you can kind of cancel the print and then just clean up. But these are the ones that are the heartbreakers, because this almost looks like a print. And you could, if you weren't that arsed, you could just call it a print. But if you look here, it warps up away from the print bed. So this is the bottom. This is the first layer that printed, and this is the last layer that printed. And as it's cooling, and this bit here is warm, it kind of pulls it up off the print bed. And this is the single, apart from clogging and blocking, which I'll maybe talk about another time because both my machines are blocked at the moment. Apart from clogging and blocking, this is the biggest issue, the bed adhesion. Because you could have a print that takes a day or 2 days or even longer than that, and it can fail towards the end because it hasn't stuck properly to the bed. So if I can get one next to it here, so that's what it should look like. Yeah, like around, is it? Like this. That's what it should look like, and that's what it looks like when it goes wrong. But this is as good a fail as you can get. The bad fails end up like the spaghetti that we showed earlier, this stuff, which is no good, obviously. If you're printing, like I've been printing some movement trays, they take a few hours to print and they're quite long. This kind of curling is horrific, so you can't have that. And how do we fix that? Well, it took me a little while to find out. People use hairspray and painter's tapes and all kinds of stuff, but what you want is this, your bog standard £1 Pritt stick, and you cover the glass print bed in this stuff. It prints, it stays stuck, and then when the print bed cools down, it just pops off. And then if it gets too lumpy, because it can create its own texture after a few, because you put this on like after each print in to kind of replace the stuff that's come off. After maybe like half a dozen prints, you just get a wet cloth and you just wipe it off, because it's water based, so you can just clean it off. And if the print bed gets really bad, you can take the print bed off, which is glass in the Ender 3's case, and you just wash it in kind of some warm water, and it'll just completely come clean. Then dry it and put it back on. So this Pritt stick has been a complete and utter lifesaver. If you're getting an Ender 3, just get one of these. It's only £1, and you can thank me later when we're saving you going mad. So yeah, so just using that will prevent this happening, and it will mean that your printer becomes a reliable machine even when you're trying to print full beds. Because the problem, especially with a hobbyist, until you get things running properly, it's best to print small batches. So print these one at a time, even though they're not very big. You could easily print maybe like 12 of these on a bed. But while you're having trouble like I was getting them to print properly, it's best to do little, like, well, whatever this is, it's probably about a 40-minute print, but then you've got to keep going in and kind of resetting the machine every 40 minutes rather than printing a dozen of these over a course of maybe like 10 hours. Anyway, so I'm not going to talk too long about FDM printing today. I just wanted to show you that things are going on. I'm enjoying it very much. I have got a clog I've got fixed this afternoon, which is just an occupational hazard. It's not too big deal to fix, but when it happens, it kind of means that if you've not got the half hour or hour you're going to need to clean it, it kind of means you just stop using your machine for a few days. So that's what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to, next couple of videos, I'm going to be talking about some of those magma dwarfs that I've been printing off. Okay, see you next time.